Hello, I'm not Adam Smith, the art and English teacher. I was born and raised in Japan, and I'm going to show you some basic English words related to sculpture, in this case clay, and how to use them. So, what can I make with clay today? I thought about it a lot, and this time I decided to make a sculpture of a water fountain that I found in our neighborhood. You can often find these water fountains in parks in Japan, but each one has a slightly different shape. I will start by looking at the photographs that I took and make a drawing. In Japan, we study English for years through elementary and junior high school. Unfortunately, that's not enough for most people, myself included, to be able to speak English well. I'm still learning English, and I hope to encourage you that even if you're not good at it to start with, you can still try. When I first went to a language school in the UK, I experienced life in English every day. The experience of studying English, using it, and learning from the reactions of others was so real that it was like being a baby again, so fresh and fun. The clay I'm using for this project is the craft clay called new terracotta. There are many craft clays in Japan, each with their own characteristics, but they are all relatively affordable and easy for anyone to use. First of all, kneading. Kneading is the first action when making something with clay. The word kneading can also be used when making bread, so it's a good word to learn if you like baking. When using clay, it's often a bit hard at first, so it's good to add a little water and knead it. It's easier to knead when weight is applied. When I went to the UK to study art, I realized once again that the level of art and design in Japan is very high, and that there's a lot of great work that deserves recognition from the world. However, many Japanese artists and designers are not on an English platform, and I felt that they weren't realizing their full potential. And that's one of the main reasons we set up MIEZARUTE Art School. No matter how good the art or design is, if the way it's expressed in English or the nuance is not right, the intention may not be conveyed well. Sometimes this can lead to misunderstandings, and I often feel that it's simply a shame. This action uses the word cut. In a sentence, it would be, I'm cutting the clay to add a little more. I decided to go for this chunk. Add a little water again and knead. Through kneading the clay, I found it's rough and very water-soluble. When both pieces of clay are roughly the same softness, bring them together. To make a bigger piece from 2 pieces of clay, we use the word join. So the sentence would be, I'm joining 2 pieces of clay to make a bigger piece. I've decided on the rough size. I hit the clay against the board to make the surface flatter. Water is applied to smooth the surface. Once the surface is pretty smooth, the next step is to flatten the surface with a tool. This action is called scrape in English. So the sentence would be, I'm scraping the surface. The water fountain is a combination of cuboids with many straight lines, so this process is repeated many times. The clay is very soft, so I use my fingers to create the edges where the surfaces meet. Because it's made by hand, the lines are not totally straight like a mass-produced item, but more gentle. It looks a bit like tofu. As this is a water fountain, I'm going to make the place where the water comes out, the tap, and a path for the water to flow. The lines are carefully drawn with tools. Once I have decided on the place, I dig a trench, adjusting the force so that it is neither too strong nor too weak. The clay is rough, so it's easier to carve if you move the tool crisply, little by little. I use this tool and my fingers to create the details. The main part of the fountain is now complete. The next step is to build a footstool to the left of the water fountain. tear off just the right amount of clay. This action is called tearing in English. So the sentence would be, I'm tearing off a piece of clay. Then you knead it again. Place the clay where you want to add it and check the size. It looks good, so I smooth it like the main part, and then scrape it to make it flat. When it's flat, apply the clay again to check the size. These two parts are joined together by scoring the surfaces. Use the tool to make diagonal marks on the surface to be attached. The other side is scored in the same way. I should use a slurry of clay and water, but it's too much trouble, so I use stone clay with water instead. As I have just made this, the clay is very soft and sticks relatively easily. The surface is then prepared again with a tool, flattening it. Because it's a three-dimensional form, you can adjust the balance by turning it around and looking at it from 360 degrees. The thickness is adjusted by looking at photos and drawings. It was a bit big, so I cut it. The water fountains in parks are hardly ever the same. Public art in the city is good, but even where there isn't any, you can still find many interesting sculptural forms in familiar places, such as buildings and water fountains. Take a look around the city to find what resonates with you. It's finished! In today's video, I've introduced some basic English words related to clay sculpture and how to use them. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching.